situation.
Oh, you do not want to.
Yeah.
If that happens, you've done something wrong.
But equally, the Tomb Guardians can just can even power through Saurus.
Yeah, but they are super slow. I believe they've
Yeah.
got movement 2 or something.
Movement 2.
I don't think they're 2, but they're.
I remember
insane.
mummies being ridiculously slow.
I think they're 4, but they might be. I could be.
Go check this.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we? I think yes. Solid team.
Oh, give me some tips and tricks before we go. How do I not die?
Don't stand in front of the mummies.
Just don't stand in front of mummies. Don't put the skinks next to them. Got it.
I think the Khemri do have a big weakness. That they don't have they don't start with any player that's agility 3 or better. So their throwers are still picking up the ball on a 4+. They've got sure hands for the inbuilt reroll, but don't want that really to be a thing. And what was noticeable when Lachlan was playing Khemri in season 1 was when if the ball ends up going loose, then they really, really struggle. If they can form a cage and grind their way down, then I'm not sure there's a better team at it in the league because it's so hard to drop that strength 5. But yeah, if it doesn't go to plan, it really doesn't go to plan very quickly.
Yeah. No, I'm. Yeah, I think I am. I think it's just one of the teams I'm most worried about. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Shall we make some predictions? We won't include ourselves in these predictions.
Although I'm obviously gonna win, so.
Oh, of course, definitely.
I'm gonna come 7th.
I say definitely.
That's what I say.
So, how this season works for those listening is everyone plays everyone twice, once home, once away. There's 18 rounds. The top 6 makes the playoffs. First and second go straight to the semi-final. 3, 4, 5, and 6 play a quarterfinal, and the winner of those goes to play first and second in the semi-final. So, if you finished off first or second, you've got a better chance of making the final than the others. The playoffs are all one match, single elimination with extra time. The final is a best of 3 affair. So, with that in mind, shall we start with our number 9 picks and go up?
Number 9, yeah. I'm afraid, I'm gonna have to say Kate. She's just been. I think she definitely struggled in the first couple seasons. Playing undead, which is again, I do like the undead pick for this league. Again, it's particularly because it's such a long one. Undead definitely has an advantage there, but I think she's just generally been a bit weak of actually getting these touchdowns. But I know she could surprise me.
I'm going to pick Ross. Sorry, Ross. Please don't kill my characters in the Eternal Kingdom. Just because the newest player to the league every time so far has finished last. So I think I suspect Ross will probably struggle in the first half of the season. Do pretty respectively in the second half. That's generally been the pattern.
I just think Orcs is a great pick for new player. I think despite that, I still think personally that's why I think I put him slightly higher just because Orcs are such a solid team, especially for new player. And if he gets it down, then I feel like he can definitely do better. But he's a completely unknown. We've not seen him play before, and he's not played much before. And so far he's losing. So there you go. The only one lost so far.
Thomas, your pick for 9?
I'm gonna say Kate as well. I'm gonna say Ross is gonna be an underdog, and he's gonna come 7th. He's gonna look up all those YouTube guides. He's gonna put hours in, put it in the study book. And he's gonna come 7th. No, he's not gonna come 7th because I said I'll come 7th. He's gonna come 8th. I'm gonna beat him. I take it back.
So up to 8th. And I've gone for the exact same theory that I had my previous one. So Thomas, I'm afraid I've put Euan for 8th, just because the newest players have kind of always come in at the bottom. So I've got the 2 newest players in order of experiences last and second last, I'm afraid. But the Lisbon are a good team, and I suspect it'll be similar to Ross, where first part of the season probably be sort of lots of close draws and a couple of losses, and in the second half of the season do better. But I think that initial ground might be hard to catch up on.
Quick question: how many hours people have in this game?
Oh,
I'm going to say 3.
Three, yeah, just in
Yeah,
total.
definitely 3. Definitely 3.
At least 3, yeah, probably. If not 4.
Steam says I've put in 150 hours.
I've had 120, but a lot of that is not being like right now. I've had it open this entire time, kind of thing. I just like to leave it open, messing around with teams.
Okay.
And that. But yeah, again, played it quite a lot. Still not very good.
So Andy, your pick for 8?
My 8th, I've actually gone with Lackland on this one. I love Goblin teams. I think they're hilarious and amazing, but I think he's going to struggle scoring touchdowns. And if he loses, the Goblins are quite easy to just. I feel like they're quite easy to just get stomped. There's a lot of. I feel like dodge teams are going to be better at dodging, and they can try and neutralize that kind of those special weapons. And punchy teams, I think, are just going to. They're just going to just punch through. Basically, the Goblins are Goblins. The Fnatic is nice, but at the end of the day, you have to be relying on a lot of bribe rolls. It's a very chancy, it's a very risky pick, I think, Goblins. I appreciate it. I like the Goblins are in the league, but I don't think they've got much of a chance, especially as the league is so long. And I feel like a lot of those special weapons are just not going to get much use. I'm not sure, but I just don't think they're going to do so well.
I agree with that. I feel like against high elves, they won't even touch them. They'll just score, and then the players will get sent off, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, and the more touchdowns you can get, the easier it kind of spirals, because you're more likely to get sent off.
And then they're just left with like not very many team members, not high strength.
I think I'll be really happy if I'm wrong here. I kind of want them to win the league just because Goblins, but yeah, the rational side of my brain says they're probably going to be quite low in the league.
Fair. Thomas, was Lacken your pick for 8 as well, or do you have someone?
I want him to be higher actually. So if I'm it's so I've gone Ross, then it's going to be Kate.
Okay.
So I've changed my mind to Kate, and then if I'm taking myself out of it, I'm going to jump to number 7. It'll be Andy.
Ow.
Just because
Ow.
you haven't played your team before.
Yeah, no.
You're not used to throwing stuff as much, or like passing very much. So I think it's going to be you.
Oh no, this league is mine. It's easy. But yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I've never played Bretonians before. But I think it'll be fun. Be interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I've not been again. I think the main reason I did well in season 1 is because I was playing a team I was comfortable with. I played a lot with. And yeah, this new season, we'll see.
So I've actually picked my number 7 for the exact same reason as you, Thomas, but I've gone for someone different. So I've gone for James at 7th, because he's playing a team that's got lots of throwing and lots of running and things, having gone from a much more sort of bashing and running in game and undead. So I think James is one of the newer players, and High Elves are probably the weakest elf team. Pretty solid, but
the tree man
let's
is
go
cool.
High Elves don't get the tree man.
Elves do get tree
man.
No, the Wood Elves get the tree man.
Oh,
no, the Wood Elves are the only ones for the big time.
Yeah,
I'll take it back. Yeah, I agree.
I was looking at the wrong one on the list. My bad.
But I expect him to retain his title of best trash talker in season 3.
Guaranteed.
So who was your number 7, Andy?
My 7th is Ross. Again, new, just same as you, very new player. I think the inherent strength of Orcs can probably carry him to 7th. But yeah, I think he's gonna definitely struggle. New player in the league against people that have played a decent amount. So yeah, not much to say about that one really.
So moving up to 6, so this is the bottom playoff spot. I've gone for Kate. I think she's going to have a much better season than last season. But still, again, among the newer players, and Undead are solid, but there are going to be teams that both outbash and outrun. So seeing how she adjusts to that is going to be interesting. But yeah, I think she's going to have a solid season.
Yeah.
Mine's going to be James because he doesn't have a tree man, and it upset me. I thought all the elves had them, It's just
Yeah,
it's just disappointing.
You're not gonna like my number 6. My number 6 is Euan, just because Underworld Denizens, again, they're such a tough team, I think, just to play in general. But I don't know, you might be able to get it back, but I am worried that a lot of those key players might get quite injured. But
When we had the version of our list with ourselves in, I had myself as 6th or 7th. So
yeah, I think you're definitely. I said definitely one of the best players here, if not statistically, you are the best player. You won twice. But yeah, I think the race, the Underworld Denizens, is definitely gonna make it. It's just gonna be a bit of a struggle, and I've got kind of high hopes for some of the elf teams. I think they could surprise us.
So, who's your number 6, Thomas?
I said mine, didn't I?
Didn't you? Did you? Sorry, I'm going mad here.
I said High Elves because they didn't have their trainer.
Oh yes, sorry, you did.
I'll give you my number 5.
Mhm.
It's going to be Tom, I think.
Other lizard
man. Simply because he named his people first. So it looks like I've stolen his ideas. So I don't know. He's going to show up my lizard team.
So
and that's my excuse.
This is the spiteful pick.
Yes.
It's when he beats me, I'll be like, yeah, I knew he'd beat me all along, so it doesn't matter anyway. Because I can't say it's the wrong matchup or anything.
You can blame the dice. That's the main thing you do in Blood Bowl.
Yeah. It's all Knuckles' fault. Praise
Triple skulls. Oh, thank you very much, my Crocodile, hitting your skink. No, it'd be fine. There is no spite going into this.
So who's your 5th pick, Euan?
I've gone for Lachlan. He's a good player. He was probably unlucky not to go further in last season. He had a really good team. I think he's going to cause a lot of problems for the Bashy teams. I'm really curious to see his game against David and see how David deals with the Fnatic. He can't really dodge away.
Yeah, not with.
So I think Lachlan's going to cause a lot of problems. I think Lachlan's going to have the most polarizing matchups.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there'll be many draw games. I think he'll either win handsomely or get kicked handsomely.
It's going to be crushing either way, I feel like.
And I feel that'll level out over a season. I suspect Lachlan. I think Goblin teams, something you said earlier, Andy. Actually, I really agree. They don't develop especially well, so I wouldn't be surprised if, when we look at the halfway stage of the season, Lachlan is sort of in that sort of top 3, and then sort of slowly falls out in the second half.
That makes sense. I can see that happening. So yeah, my number 5 is the High Elves, James. I put him relatively high because I'm just kind of hopeful. Like, he's playing something new. I think they could do it. I think High Elves are actually they're quite a nice team, quite a nice team to be learning and doing the kind of running game with. They've all got decent armor, decent skills. I think he can pull it out. I think he's definitely going to struggle early as he gets accustomed to his new kind of team. I do think around the midway part, maybe a bit further on, I think he will definitely do better when he gets to terms with his team. Actually understands how the passing game kind of works. I think there's a good chance he does decently.
Fair. So number 4, I've gone for Andy.
Hey.
So I think he's a good player, and I think he's got a team that can adapt to the various threats well. But I don't think Bretonians have that sort of killer instinct play. And they've got that advantage. They've always got that thing where they've probably got an advantage over every team, but equally every team has an advantage over them. So I think Andy's going to go in with a sort of 50+% ratio, but probably be pretty close to that line.
Yeah.
They kind of remind me of like a background character. Like, they'll do all right, and you don't know what their deal is. But I don't know.
Again, completely new to the team. Should be interesting. I think you're very generous putting me in 4th. Not gonna lie.
So who did you pick as 4th?
I put Tom's lizards just because his name was slightly shorter than the other Tom. No, that means I put you higher. That's how that works.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
But yeah, I love the lizard team. I'm very comfortable with that. I know it a lot, and I know that it's not too hard to make it work very well, and it is a really strong team that I am scared of facing. And I think both the Toms can probably handle the lizards pretty well. And yeah, I think gonna have a very strong season with some lizards. That's it for my fourth.
I'm gonna say Euan, because you're gonna get some dirty dirty mutations on your troll. He's gonna have the tentacles. He's gonna get a claw. He's gonna thwomp some boys.
I really hope so. You're describing my dream plan here, but not the one I'm expecting.
Right, then all the Skaven Blitzers are gonna get claws. All the Skaven Throwers are gonna get extra arms. And then I don't know what the goblins get, but
death mostly.
Death.
I think that does make me kind of want to change mine a little bit. Just thinking that you do have a lot of the later, you have a lot of like progression in your team. Like when your team starts getting some XP, starts getting those mutations, I think you definitely be.
Well, do they get better chances for mutations on them? Is that what their thing is?
Yeah. So all of the underworld goblins have access to mutation when they level up on a normal roll.
Oh damn!
They've still got to live that long, and even in the one game I've played with them, that's proved very challenging.
Yeah.
So there'll be a couple of goblins. Me and Lachlan are going to have the highest turnover teams, and I think I might even beat him on that. Which would be impressive because Matt in both seasons has had the highest turnover of players, and even with Wood Elves, I don't think he's going to have that this season. But you never know.
Wood Elves don't have a huge amount of armor, but yeah, I think they'll be alright. We'll see.
So I think that's everyone's number 4.
Yep.
So number 3, I've gone for Tom. I thought he had a very impressive season last season. He was unlucky not to make the playoffs. Going from Orcs to Lizardmen sort of, I think, fixes his biggest struggle, which was probably scoring enough touchdowns to. You basically need to score one more touchdown and one more game to go through. And I think Lizardmen have a greater offensive capability over Orcs. But they've got a lot of similarities in their sort of upfront muscle, so I think he's still got that sort of familiarity with the team. So I think he'll finish third.
Yeah, again, very strong. For my third, I put Thomas's Lizards because again, Lizards are really good. I've not actually played other Tom. I've only played Thomas or Pips. I played about 1 or 2 games. I've seen him play. And I think.
We had a Chaos Dwarf match, and you played Goblins, and we overfilled your injury box.
Yeah, it was overflowing.
That was fun.
But I think you understand how Blood Bowl works at least. I think again, you think if you watch a few videos, I reckon top 3 finish.
I think third is a very, very, very generous thing.
It might just be me, but I rate Lizards as a very, very strong team. I think they are. I think the Lizards are gonna all do well this season. I think, I would be very surprised if they weren't half of the top 4. So that's why I put you in third.
I think just on that, I think when Lizards have a full 11 players, they have the most powerful starting lineup all told. But I think part of that is kind of all of their players kind of is as good as 2 other players. But when you lose players, you're losing 2 players as well, if you know what I mean. So if you lose a couple of Saurus, you really lose that bashing game. If you lose a couple of Skinks, you have no ability to move them. So it's not necessarily the easiest thing to get to Lizards and injure them. But if you can, they suffer, I think, more than probably any other teams in terms of injuries because their players are so one-dimensional. They're really good, but they are very one-dimensional with their players. So if you if you can take advantage of that, that's when I think they struggle.
Yeah, you go smack, you pick up the ball, you like stick yourself in the middle of their teams, they can't move.
Yeah. So yeah, Tom, who's your third?
My third is Lachlan. I think he's gonna trigger so many people. Literally, he's gonna play so many games, and he's gonna get like bullshit kills on like properly like level 3, level 4 players, and people are just gonna slam their keyboards. And because of the slam keyboards, they won't be able to play anymore. And that's how he's gonna win.
So Lachlan wins most rage quit awards in advance, or most likely to cause a rage quit against.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most
Or
rage.
They forfeit because they don't want to lose any more players. Probably, I think that's the meta against Lachlan. Just don't play.
Just don't play.
Having played him once, I would agree with that logic. So it's interesting because I think we all came up with our list independently.
Yeah.
Most of the players we've been pretty consistent with. Lachlan and Andy have been sort of probably the two highest variance players. But equally, none of us have mentioned who we think our top two are.
Yes, and I believe we've all got the same people.
Yeah.
So we've all got the same top two players. Be interesting to see if they're the same order. So for second, I've gone for Matt.
I have also gone for Matt second. I'll take that now.
I have as well.
Oh,
hey!
Yeah, my one reasoning is that David is the first match against me. I've been scared by all this talk, and when I lose half my team against David's mummies, it will be because he won. So once again, it's to save my pride and save my ego.
So I think talk about Matt first, because obviously that has David as our number one pick for everyone. Matt has shown a great improvement, even in the best of 3 final that I played against him last season. The way he evolved his tactics from game to game against the same opponent when he really struggled in the first game, and finished with 2 very respectable draws. And if we'd played more games, I'm pretty sure they'd have been draws as well. It was impressive. Wood Elves are a really good team as well. He would be my pick for person who scores the most touchdowns. He was very good in attack in both season 1 and season 2, even when he wasn't necessarily winning. The biggest challenge for him is going to be keeping all his players on the pitch. We mentioned before he's got the highest. We're pretty sure he lost the most players in both season 1 and season 2. Wood Elves has a very reasonable chance of being up there as well. With a Goblin and an Underworld team, it might not be top, but he's certainly in that sort of contention for that.
But I feel like Matt's smart enough to use his agility 4, use his dodges, not giving away. I think he's not going to be giving up those free block dice. I think he's going to make it hard to injure his team, and that's why I put him so highly. I think Matt is a very smart player, and I think he could really turn it out this season.
Especially when he gets those dodges on everyone. And the secret, he has the Tree Man, which makes him 3 times as good as the other one. Because who plays Elves without the Tree Man?
Well, he's got a War Dancer, which I think is the biggest, even bigger threat.
Who is the Tree Man? No, who's the Tree Man? Who's High Elves?
James.
What? James. How dare you? How dare you, James?
I think the biggest challenge for Matt is there will be one game at some point in here where something goes wrong for the Elves and he takes a bunch of casualties. And they'll either be missing next game or have big injuries or whatever. Quite possibly after playing Lachlan, whenever that is. Lachlan's Goblins team. So I think seeing how that happens and seeing when that happens, because it will happen at some point with 18 games of Elves, and seeing how he recovers from that is going to be the big thing. But if he can get to a final with his team pretty much intact, he's got a real shot of winning it. In fact, I think if he gets to a final with his team intact, I actually rate him higher than David to go on and win it, just because of the difference in the team. But
I feel like the slow mobility of David's team will be a real drawback against High Elves. Not High Elves, not disgusting. High Elves. I need to wash my mouth out after saying their name so many times.
So
disgusting.
So talking about David. David has been
Oh.
statistically, I think he's got the second best win rate out of everyone.
Yeah.
He's playing a team that he's familiar with the style of, even if he's not familiar with the team itself.
Yeah.
His Nurgle team was excellent in season
Oh.
1.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've got to give it to him. He played very, very well with that Nurgle team season 1, and he got the only reason I came out on top of him because he's got really, really unlucky with some dice rolls.
Oh, similar against me. He had a positive record against me, and in fact, the first game we played, first game of season 1, I remember playing, and he butchered my elves everywhere, and in both halves, I think he failed go for it to get over the line at least once with a reroll as well. And if he'd scored either of those, he'd have been in the playoffs instead of me, quite comfortably actually.
I feel that's the most feel bad reroll you can fail.
Going for it are the role I hate more than any other.
You feel like it's such a waste.
It's a waste, and it should be so reliable. But when you have a go for it to cross the line, that's like a 50-50 at best.
It's always. I remember I was in, what was it, one of the finals?
Our semi-final. I think I failed 3 times with a reroll.
Fumbles, but it was a good.
That was funny. Well, it was funny looking back on it. It wasn't funny at the time.
At the time, very frustrating.
David. I don't think David is the bashiest team 1-11. I think technically that goes to the Orcs. But he has the ability to put 3 and then later down the line 4 mummies down someone's throat and start bending the defensive line and cracking things around that. I feel like so good.
It's definitely the scalpel rather than the orc hammer.
This is very relatively speaking. The scalpel of
the scalpel of Blood Bowl.
I think I don't rate Khemri in a knockout environment, so I wouldn't predict David actually wins this, because I think they do have that chance to drop the ball. If the ball goes loose, they are going to struggle. And if there's a thing in the playoffs where he needs to force the pace, Khemri are going to really struggle. But I think over the course of the league season, he will finish top.
I think he's such a mechanically strong player. Definitely up the. I think definitely in terms of like people with the most experienced, people that are best at the game, I'd say definitely you and David are definitely the very, very top of the league in terms of actual mechanical skill, knowing how the game works, understanding like what you're supposed to be doing, teams and skills and everything. So I just think David has been pretty unlucky in the first season. I wasn't sure about, again, I didn't play the second one, but I feel like
second season he was top for about half the season. He got beaten up a couple of times by my dwarves to end second, basically. And then he got really beaten up in our. We essentially, if you were in the playoffs that season, we had a first and second played each other. If you lost that, you then played the winner of third v fourth, so you had a chance to go through to the final. We used the same. And when he lost against me, and I really, really battered his team. And when he came to playing Matt in the what was equivalent of the semi-final, his team wasn't in the best spot. That's not to take anything away from Matt. Matt won it quite comfortably. There's nothing to suggest that he wouldn't have won if David's team had been at full strength. But David's team was down players for that game, which didn't help him.
Yeah, I definitely feel like very strong contender for the win. I mean, I think he deserves a win at this point.
He certainly deserves a final. He's been unlucky not to get there. Does anyone have anything else they want to add before we call the podcast up?
Not much. Just very excited to actually get games in and get this started. May there be lots of blood and a little bit of ball.
A little bit of ball.
Yeah.
Don't get too caught up on holding the ball.
Yeah, we're halfway through round 1, so we'll just give the results so far. So I drew against Lachlan. Lachlan murdered all my players, but I managed to score early on and just hold out for the draw in the second half. Matt and Kate played to a 2-2 draw in what was our first game. So quite a high-scoring draw between them. And given that they're husband and wife, the the matters in the household being a draw is probably a good thing.
It was
Classic bragging rights.
rigged.
And Tom has played Ross. Tom won the game 1-0. Actually watched a little bit of that. It looked like the Saurus were able to outmuscle in the middle, and Ross posted a rather horrific picture of 7 of his people knocked out on the line of scrimmage. I'm not sure what was the cause of that. It looked a bit like a riot, picture art, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited again, totally.
So yeah, be interesting to see how it develops, and if people like this sort of view of Blood Bowl, we might do another one on the channel, or we might set up a separate podcast for that. So if you're listening to this, especially if you're listening on YouTube, do leave a note in the comments if you're interested in hearing more stuff like this.
Well, thank you very much for having us on, Euan. It's been fun. Let's go through the league with you and everything.
Yeah, I felt very, very welcomed in. But...
You've now got to go and listen to the other 12 episodes of the Warhoundcast.
Oh, okay.
I'm legally obligated to do so, so I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah. You can listen to the Dark Angels and the Death Guard review things. But
oh, Death Guard, hell yeah, that's what we're about.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me, chaps. And
see you on the pitch.
Someone will do the next Warhoundcast. We don't know what it'll be about. Maybe Drakari, but we'll see.
Anyway,
Right.
Bye all.
See you.
I did leave rather than disconnect.